Welcome to Xcess 4x4. This is our new product, the aluminium super flange. This is a flange that is different to anything Land Rover offer. It's designed to actually sit over the end of the differential, and also it goes inside the differential, and it's a much tighter fit and a much closer tolerance than anything that's on the market out there. I can't even get my fingernail in there, but it turns an absolute dream. And if you can keep water out and oil in with a decent seal, that's half the battle of keeping your diff in decent condition. So what we're going to do in this video is show you the different types of flanges on the various long nose units, identify which one or ones you've got, and show you what the kits do and also how to fit them. Please be aware that these are made on a 5-axis CNC machine. The OD is accurate to 0.01 of a millimetre. This is a Land Rover casing, and it's not. It's accurate to whatever they fancied when it came out of casting, and this piece here where this aluminium flange sits on can cause problems, and also with the various amounts of internal movement you can have, with all of those things add up, that this wonderfully accurate, all the same, you can have 100 of these off the CNC, they're all exactly the same. You won't find two Land Rover casings the same. So although this is a DIY fit, please be aware you may have to do a little bit of fettling. If we start with this one here, this will be on the oldest Land Rover diffs around. This has the pinion that has 4 whopping great cuts in it. It's known as a 4-spline pinion. The part number is 236632. Normally this one will be fitted on the other side with a big washer and a castellated nut and a split pin. The next one you're going to come across, and probably the most common, is the square 24 spline. This is part number F for Freddy, R for Robert, C for Charlie, 3002. This is fitted to later long nose differentials, and obviously these two aren't interchangeable. We don't use either of these now because if you think about it, this is rotating at high speed, as is this one. It's square. That means when it hits a rock, it really hits a rock. So it's not a great idea. So the other flange that we use, which in our opinion is the best one out there, it's round, it's 24 splines. This is STC 4858, or also being known as TXW 500010. And this one also comes with the nasty genuine Land Rover press steel thingy on, which doesn't do much use at all. This is actually the unit itself. We've knocked this off another one, and these are genuine Land Rover and frankly pretty nasty. The last of the units, if you're daft enough to run one on your vehicle, because it's a much better idea to change it across to one of those and put a different spacer on the prop. This is the 3-bolt with the nasty donut, again 24 spline, again with the nasty Land Rover tin thing on it, and this is part number STC 3723. Now these all have different seals. The most common seal is on these early ones. This is about as much use as putting roller skates on a dead pig. We don't use that at all. The one seal, and we have designed it so that all 4 of these use this seal. This is supplied in all kits. The seal number is FTC 5258. It's a multi-lip seal, and it's the best seal out there for protecting your differential from ingress of water and oil getting out, etc. And this is the seal that is used on all 4 of these units with our adapter. And instead of using this nasty little tin thing here, as you've seen in the other videos, we've produced these, and yes, I've been a bit bling and gone and got it laser etched. There'll be 3 different kits available, and it will really be driven by which one of these 4 that you've got. Once you know which one it is, you can go on a website and actually order it, as it will show you which one does which. Now we're going to take this flange and we're going to start transforming it with the new Xcess 4x4 super flange on it and fitting it into a differential and showing you what may or may not be needed tweak wise to get it to be a perfect fit. So the first thing to do is knock off this stupid little ring here. Now what you've got to be careful of is this face here. You do not want to be clamping this in a vise and knocking it off. What you can do is, if you're careful, you can get a punch through here and get the punch to sit underneath here on this ring and just tap it off. You'll find that once you've got it moving, it will actually drop off. Now the other reason that we've made these out of aluminium is this surface here is crucial that it's not damaged, because the seal rotates on it, and it's that seal that keeps your oil in and the water and the dirt out. So if you put a big gouge in it, or if there is a big ring cut in it from wear, you're going to have to replace this, but at least you've now got the part numbers. This is made out of aluminium because when we press this on here, it's not, when it presses on, able to scratch it. It goes on face down, and I would honestly say to you, do not go hitting this with a hammer. Best bet is to find a really nice big socket and try and do it on this surface here. Another little tip which most people look at me as I'm absolutely amazed is pop this steel unit in the freezer overnight and you'll find this fits on a whole lot easier. Just the coldness and this shrinking, just a teeny weeny amount, you'll find that just goes on a dream. When this is hot and this is hot, it's a different ball game. I've learnt by experience that next to the peas are about 4 or 5 of these in our freezer. Makes the wife wonder. The seal, when you've fitted the seal should be looking at you from inside the diff casing. So that bit with the spring on goes into the diff casing and sits down onto that shaft against the back face of this. So just to recap, if you're going to use one of these late long nose type round diff flanges, then, and you're replacing one of these square ones, you will have this spacer in there. That gets thrown away. The extra length of that is the same as this plus that. They are interchangeable. And if you've still got a problem fitting it, then it's down to one of the other things we're going to show you in this video. So the assembly would look something like this. You'll either have a nylock, which we will give you in a new kit to replace, a castellated nut and a split pin, we'll give you a new castellated nut and a new split pin, or in this case a bolt going in, we'll give you a new bolt as well. Whichever one it is you order with the correct kit. When you undo that and pull this off, you'll have the seal behind. Pull the seal out, and then what you'll have in here is probably a spacer, which is missing here, and you need to take that spacer out. And from here on in, you need to be really careful that you don't get dirt and grit in here. So it's a good idea to clean all this off first. And you'll notice here, this casing has got quite a groove in it, and this casing hasn't got a groove in it. So there are minor differences, and this is where you may have to just fettle this edge I'm running my thumb round. This is not really a machined surface. Sometimes when you run your finger around, you'll find a casting mark. All you need to do is file it off. Now what you want to do is pack all around here with sort of tissue paper and jam it all in so that when you pull it out, everything's clean and tidy. So here we have a old 24 spline, pretty useless assembly. This is at the scrap box. You can see the grooves here which have turned this into scrap. If yours looks a little bit like this, then you're going to need a new one, because if you put a new seal on, it's not going to last very long. And this is the very early level flange, which is absolutely useless. In fact, it's about as much use as a one-legged cat trying to bury a turd on a frozen lake. If I zoom down here to the nose of the differential, if you look very carefully, you can actually see a little ridge right where my fingernail is there. Now that is where you want to bang the new seal in so that the seal is a perfect fit. This surface here can vary. Now what I've done on this one is I've already made a jig up, and we just completely face this off. So A, it's completely square, B, it's completely smooth. You could do this with a lynching pad, but what you've got to make sure is that all of this in here is completely blocked up if you're doing it retrospectively, so no dirt can get in here. This is the seal fully fitted in, right up to that lip there. There is an amount of movement in here that can make the new flange not actually fit straight away. And what will happen is you'll put the new flange onto this system here, and you'll do the bolt up, and then you'll find that it's gone absolutely rock solid. So there's two things you can do if that happens. The first is to rotate it and actually see if you get scratch marks here, because if that's the case, you'll need to thin this off a bit here. And we're not talking, you know, huge amounts. We're talking sort of 1/2 millimetre maybe, even 1/4 millimetre sometimes. So this has got to be dead smooth. You might find it picks up. The other way of doing it, as I've done here, is put some marking blue, the engineer's blue as they call it, on the faces that could actually touch. So by putting it on the assembled diff and rotating it a couple of times, when you lift it back off again, you'll see whether the marking blue has been moved and cleaned off and where, and that tells you whether you've got to take a little bit off this inner one, in which case you're going to need a lathe, a little bit on the outer one here, which either means again a lathe or potentially reduce this a bit more. And this is why I'm saying that although this is a DIY and retrofit, because this is not designed to actually have anything running as close to it as this unit's going to be, and because you may have to fettle this very slightly to get it all to fit nicely, you really ought to be aware of this, in my opinion, before you spend your money. So if you're happy that you can do these minor alterations to your pinion flange and or to the facing here of your diff, if you are happy you can do it, then go ahead, because now you know exactly what you're in for. So once you've done all that, what I would suggest is you blow some brake cleaner up your hole here, so to speak, or over the thread if it's having a nut or a castellated nut. Clean off the washer, a bit of black RTV sealant on here, so that when the washer goes on top and seals into there, it actually stops anything getting through the actual unit itself. And then again on this one we'll put a new bolt on it and some Loctite, and we'll torque that up, and it should be torqued between 70 and 100 foot-pounds. And there you go, all nicely fitted. This one's actually fitted a treat, even though we did have to piddle around with it a little bit. In fact, if you look very closely here, this edge of the casing and the aluminium shield are almost flush, and on this side it's sticking out by a country mile, and that just shows how much these casings vary. That at the top, flush, not flush. So there you go. If you want to fit one of these, go to our website www.xcess4x4.com, go to the products page, and you'll see the 3 different kits listed there.